Hey, what's up, everyone? Happy Thursday. Happy Thirsty Thursday. I hope everyone is having an awesome week so far. It is Friday Eve, so hopefully everyone's doing well. In today's episode, we have an awesome guest that is doing web design and some IT support today, and he wants to transition, and he's transitioning into the world of cyber. So I want to go ahead and have him introduce himself. His name is Noah. I'm going to bring him in, and then he can go to it. Let's get him in. What's up, Noah? How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good, good, good. So thank you for spending your time tonight. I really appreciate it. And for those folks that aren't familiar who you are, introduce yourself, what you've been up to, and how's all that good stuff going?
Yes. Thank you for having me on the podcast. I'm currently doing website design at my company. So what I do is I do HTML, CSS, and I also do like script integrations, FTP, FileZilla. I use a lot of that stuff in my company. Also, I do a lot of website layouts and custom tabs, and I try to do the websites the best I can as far as adding logos and using Adobe Illustrator, Adobe Photoshop, some stuff that I use at work. I'm wanting to transition into cyber, and also I'm doing some IT support stuff too, on the back end with the website. So I'm familiar with a lot of work orders, help desk, and tickets. I do a lot of that stuff also. And then on the back end of that, I do have a few months and kind of IT technician role. I've done some cabling. I've installed HTTV cameras. I've also dealt with patch down or punch down cables, patch panels, and installing cabling Cat5, Cat6. So I do have a little bit of experience in that. But I'm wanting to transition into more of a hands-on network security role. That's my end goal. And then I wanted to also get into more cybersecurity. My end goal is it's going to be the red team, pen test and the ethical hacking route.
Nice, dude. Nice. That's awesome. So, you know, getting into the world of websites, web design, like you said, the back end, CSS, HTML, etc. And today you're doing, maybe hack the box, try hack me's, and all that good stuff. So have you, I guess, for you, have you done more? Do you lean more towards oh, I want to do a web pen test or web boxes versus oh, the traditional AD and Windows boxes? Are you like that since you're doing web design, or you just whatever whatever hack the box, whatever we do is is a go for you?
Yeah, so I'm wanting to get more involved with the Hack the Box and Try Hack Me labs. That's my next goal is to do those more hands-on labs so I can get the actual experience on the back end. Yeah, as far as Hack the Box and Try Hack Me, I haven't I've looked into it, but I haven't really done much labs with that so far.
Gotcha. Cool. And like I say, I always recommend folks that do, try Hack Me first, maybe because they have more of their little walkthrough type thing. Like sometimes it's a full CTF, like a full, just shows you okay, submit the root flag and the user flag. But sometimes it's okay, what ports are open on this box? Then you can do your Nmap scan and you can pretty much, I think Hack the Box has that now too. They have, I think for the retired boxes, I think they have the adventure mode and then their little guided mode, I think they call it. So they give you little questions as you proceed through the box. But yeah, that's sick. So, as far as, right now you're getting into IT, you did some help desk, you did some all that stuff. Any certifications that you're working on? And, yeah, tell us about that journey so far.
Yeah, so I'm currently pursuing my Bachelor's of Cybersecurity and at Western Governor, and I'm also currently doing the A+ cert. And in the bachelor degree, they have me doing the A+, Net+, Security+, and then also Linux Essentials is a cert, and then the Pen Test Plus, and then those 5 certs is what I get with my bachelor degree. But I transferred in with having half of my degree already completed. I have 2 minors, and one is in computer programming, and then one's in cybersecurity. So I'm familiar with Java, like C sharp, C++, like SQL, and then HTML, CSS, of course. But yeah, as far as that goes, I've done that with programming. I've used like Visual Studios, so I'm familiar with like that platform, and then also like Notepad++, and also like I've used like a NetBeam IDE for Java.
Cool. So now you're saying you're doing the A plus. So you come from all this programming, this world of web design programming. Now, how do you feel doing hardware and the A plus type stuff? Like, what is your experience with that? Like, what is your feedback or what is your experience? Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, so with A plus, so currently like Core 2 is pretty tough as far as like the operating system goes, and then like the hardware side of it is more of like the cabling and like knowing like which wires go where, like for AB for the cabling part. But yeah, I feel like Core 2 is a lot harder than Core 1.
Yeah. And I like to talk about those certifications because they're like quote unquote entry level certs. People are like, okay, you get your A plus, your network plus, your security plus, and then you can branch out from there, right? And I've said this a quadrillion times live on videos or whatever in real life. A plus is probably one of my hardest exams I've taken. And I've taken probably over 100 exams at this point in my career. So A plus definitely gave me a run for my money. And then like network plus too, like it was easy but hard at the same time because even like when you do CCNA is easier than network plus in my opinion because you're just focused on routing and switching back then. Now there's wireless firewalls and their CCNA has changed, but like the network plus you have to know a little bit of like CCNA stuff, some route switch, some VLAN stuff, some like learn about cabling like you said, patch panels, and all this other networking stuff that is pretty fun. But like I know people that said screw the network plus, and this is a true story, and I think I've said this. He went all the way up to the CCNP, and he had a CCNP route switch, and now it's CCNP Enterprise. And I remember he called me. He's like, "Dude, I'm in an MDF, which is a closet where your network equipment is." And he's like, "I don't know." Like they asked me to like repatch this cable, and he didn't know how, right? Because CCNA is teaching you all the configuration, troubleshooting, etc., but it's not going at like the OSI model layer 1, right? The physical layer. So it's like it's interesting when people skip those fundamentals and those foundations, and I think that's really really cool that you're doing that. And then as you transition into your career more and more, and you're getting into that's your ultimate goal in pen testing. So why is that? Why pen testing out of all those things in cyber?
Well, it's like I'm looking for something that's like more like challenging, and like I feel like cybersecurity is like a more challenging role, and you have to stay up to date. So it's not like if you're a person that doesn't do a lot of research and you don't really want to like do work outside of like your 40-hour a week job, then cybersecurity is not really for you, because it's for people that actually want to like develop and do like research outside of work versus like just doing your 40-hour a week job and then going home.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that. But I guess my question is, I understand you want to get into cyber because of all the cool research. It's evolving, it's changing every day. An attack or exploit that works today may not work tomorrow. But as long as you have that theory or the methodology, more like it, no matter what the tool is, as long as you understand what you're trying to do. And it's interesting because like even with interviews, right? Like an interview, like a job interview, I've, drawn blanks on interviews, right? So it's like, I'm bringing this up because sometimes when you have those questions like, what is cross-site scripting? Explain how would you sanitize it, or whatever the case may be. Like, what is this? What is that? Like those questions sometimes stump me because it's like when you're on the keyboard researching, going back to what you were saying, is like, oh, it's a Google question. Like, what is what is XSRF, or what is whatever the hell the case may be. It's like I can just Google that real quick. Like, so how are you feeling like being on a younger generation? You're coming up in the game. Like, how much of this are you memorizing, like keeping in your head, or how much of the, schoolwork and transitioning do you just keep on paper and let it just rest there, and then you just research your own notes when you need to?
Yeah, so I'm more of a hands-on type learner. Like I have to physically like do the work in order to like get it stuck in my brain. Like I'm not the type of person that can take tests and like kind of like memorize information. Like I have to do it like hands-on. So like in order for me to like get to these certs, I'm having to like do stuff hands-on to like understand the information and like know what I'm doing versus like having to study a bunch of like books or like notes and trying to memorize like okay, well this answer is this and then this term is this, like that, like the whole terminology thing is like difficult trying to like study, especially for A plus because it's so much information and it's like broad, especially for a core two. Like you have to know so much information, and a test is like so short on like time and questions. So it's like me, like personally, I have to do stuff hands on to like understand it better.
Yeah. So for the A plus, how is it now? Is it hands on? Like I took it in 2007. I took my A plus, so it's 18 years ago. So is it, because back then it was just like, I think it's hardware and software, and there was no like, it was all like A, B, C, and D. But I heard now they have like little simulations that like have a PC, and you have to like drag and drop things. Is that how it is now, or?
Yeah, so it can range. It gives you anywhere from like 3 performance based to 7 per like test you take. So you can have up to like 90 questions max, and then you can have up to like 3 to 7 performance based questions. I don't know, like like people don't know like what it counts as because like CompTIA don't release that information. But like I feel like the performance based are worth more than the multiple choice questions.
Gotcha. And you took the first exam already?
No, I've only taken core 2.
Oh, so you took core 2. So you did things backwards. You took the harder one, and
Yeah.
then you're gonna do hopefully it's easier. So that's cool. That's good to know. So going back to my question about like getting into cyber, you talk about all the research and all that stuff, but why pen testing? Why like the offensive side? Like can you like get into that a little bit more, just for those folks that maybe in your same shoes, and picking your brain of why you chose that versus DFIR or blue teaming or instant response or threat hunting or whatever. Like what makes you want to be on the offense side?
Yeah. So like I like using like kind of like the tools to like I feel like what it really like comes down to is like you're helping companies like with their security. So like you're trying to like breach the company data, and then you're trying to figure out, okay, well this vulnerability is high or this one's low, and then like you want to like document everything that you do, and then you want to deliver that information to the company. So where like if it's a high vulnerability, then like the company would have to do like they'll have to have more security in that section versus like the low and the medium are kind of like don't really like mean as much as the high ones. But it's stuff like I like documenting stuff and like figuring stuff out, and then like relating information to like help people like just with security or like stuff that they have questions about. It's a really interesting field. But like as far as the red teaming goes, like I mean I would do like other kind of like jobs as far as like other than red teaming. Like I would do like blue team for the defense side starting out, but like my end goal is to eventually be on the red team. But like I wouldn't mind starting out with like the blue teaming and doing like, because I feel like you have to know the back end fundamentals in order to kind of like work your way up. Like if you don't know how like networking works or the network fundamentals, like it's going to be hard for you to secure a system.
No, yeah, facts. That is super true because I guess I used to always say that, right? Like I used to always tell people, if it's mentoring someone or if it's asking questions or just talking to someone in a conference, hey, start out with the blue team so you get the lay of the land and you start, whatever. But I think like now I start taking that back for now, because it's like there's no right path. It's your path, right? So it's like now that's what I start saying. Like whatever floats your boat, whatever you're intrigued with, you just go for it. Don't just go because someone on the internet said, "Hey, you have to do X, Y, Z." Like I didn't come up the traditional path by any means. Like for those folks that know my story, I'm like a left fielder in this field, right? But yeah, just you know, Yeah, thanks for sharing that. That's really interesting. So anything that you have in mind that that you want to share, you want to ask, you want to like go over, and maybe people like in the chat, if you guys are in the chat, the people that are viewing, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Just put your questions in the chat as we talk, and then usually the last 15 minutes of the evening, we'll jump on and answer those questions.
Yep. So like my next thing is to get more involved with like IT conferences. Like I want to go to some like around my area. Like what are some like popular ones to go to besides like DEF CON? Because I know like that's a pretty popular one.
Yeah, so DEF CON is definitely like a popular one. So I think DEF CON is more, this is just me. Uh, this is what I do it for, just to hang out with the homies, right? I think the more intimate ones, like I went to Deadwood or Wild West Hackenfest last year, and I thought that was super, super intimate. And that was really nice because two reasons, well, a couple more, but two main reasons. Like you're there because you really committed to be there because that thing is in the middle of, nowhere. And then like the people that are there, they're really down to earth. And it's not like a whole bunch of people like in DEF CON is just like everyone and their mother can go there, right? And it's so packed and it's just so overwhelming. If it's your first time, right? But I think DEF CON is cool, like just to experience it for once in your life. Like, if Wild West Hackenfest, I think that's really, really good. Hack Space Con down where I'm at, Kennedy Space Center is really cool, and it's a little more intimate as well than DEF CON. It's a smaller venue and some awesome people over there. And like your local B-sides is awesome too for multiple reasons. Like you can network with companies and see if they're hiring if you're looking for jobs, and then you can just see talks and just network with folks. I think that's the most important thing with any conference. So yeah, that would be my my intake on that.
Because I know there's one in there, I think it's like AC Council, the Hacker Halted is coming back to Atlanta this year, and that's in October. So I'm planning on going to that one. My friend went last year. He said it was pretty cool. Like they hacked into like cars and all kinds of stuff there.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, and that's what they did in at DEF CON too. They have like the car hacking village, and it's pretty cool. Like that's the cool thing too. Like to experience DEF CON, because if you go to your local B-sides, they're not going to have crazy cool. They're going to have cool thing like maybe like a lock picking village, something that's small. You're not going to have cars in a school, because usually like B-sides are like in little small venues. But yeah, B-sides rocks. Yeah, I think B-sides really, really. I can't really see who's the. It just says LinkedIn user, so I'm not sure what your name is, but yeah, SpaceCon is in May. Yep, Hack SpaceCon is in May. I think 13th and 14th, if I remember correctly. I'll be out there because I work with the people with Red Seer, and I do some stuff with Hack RedCon and those folks over there. So I'll definitely be out there. But yeah. So then hopefully I just lost my train of thought. Like hopefully that answers that.
So like with the like different IT conferences or like hacking events, like do people like promote their like like their personal brand? Like do they kind of like talk about that kind of stuff like when you're like talking to people?
If you're asking me personally, like I think I don't like to speak about myself. And I was actually just talking to someone today about like there's people, like, hey, InfoSec Pat, like, dude, my name is Pat. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a celebrity. I'm not like some, I don't know. It's weird for me because I just never thought I never thought this would happen, right? Like I just thought I was make some videos, help some people, and just shoot the shit with folks and help them. I enjoy helping people no matter what. If it's IT, if it's cyber, if it's bowling, if it's skating at the gym, getting better at arm wrestling, whatever the case may be, I like to give, right? So I never thought this would be, a thing. But I do obviously like I'll rock my hat with my logo. Sometimes I'll have a shirt on, like my get hacked or get jacked or get hacked thing, or whatever the case may be. But I'm never like, I guess I promote it indirectly. That makes sense. But if I'm doing a talk, obviously, I say, hey, I'll put my logo on my slides, my channel, my little QR code. It goes to my link tree or whatever. But yeah, hopefully that answers it.
Let's see. So like, what's your thoughts as like is cybersecurity an entry level job? Like, what is your thoughts on that?
So entry level in cyber, I don't think there is such a thing, because in my opinion, like when you're like you're doing IT, back end websites and stuff like that, you already understand some of the fundamentals. When you get into like a SOC position, that's probably an entry level in cyber, if that makes sense, but it's not an entry level position, right? Like you can't be like, yo, I want to be a SOC analyst. Man, my back is killing me today. But you can't be like, oh, I'm working at Bob's Pizza Parlor, and I'm going to be a SOC analyst tomorrow. And then you're looking at TCP dumps and you're looking at logs. You're like, what the hell is this, right? So my take on that is always have some kind of transition. Do what you're doing, and then transition into maybe an entry level SOC position or security engineering or security analyst role or whatever, and get your feet wet with different kind of tools and like understanding maybe a SIM solution or endpoint solution like EDR, CrowdStrike, MDE, whatever, Cortex or Carbon Black, whatever the case may be. So you understand how to investigate that, and then then you can start doing threat detection and threat hunting. That's more on the defensive side. But if you want to get into the offensive side, even with that, like I think me personally, this is just a personal opinion or personal preference or whatever. I think becoming a offensive security person is easier than a defensive security person, and there's more jobs in blue teaming than red or than offensive side. But I think like if you put, this is me again personally, like if you put a blue team person, like a guy that's been working in a SOC or a security engineer for 1 year, and then a pen tester for 1 year, I think me personally, like the blue teamer will be more well-rounded, because, and this is my last thought about this. And I think I said this last week, like a blue teamer has to be right all the time, right? We're like bop, 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 like we're like just defending, right? A hacker just needs to be right once. So it's like, for me to guide my house, I have to make sure all my windows are locked, all my doors are shut, all my cameras are on, my outside lights are on, right? Like I have to do all of this shit. And what if I let, the dog out and I just shut the back door, but I forget to latch it? So now that's that vulnerability, right? Now you can just walk in the back and boom. So I had to do all that shit, and all you had to do is open the door. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's my TED Talk. Thanks for coming.
So like someone that's in IT support, like what would you say would be their next like upscale like in the IT field? Like do you think it would be best to go like networking or like trying to like go into cyber like off of IT support?
Oh man. I think the way I did it, right? Like I never worked in a low level support role. I think I said it. I tried it for like a week and I just couldn't do it because it wasn't my cup of tea. And then I like transitioned to like a bench tech, like building out the servers and then like doing system administration and building out networks and blah, blah, blah. I think doing that, just like I have a friend that pretty much I got him into the world of IT, or he knew IT, but I got him his first job. And then like he was doing help desk, and then he moved up really quick. He works for an MSP, and now he's like their lead cybersecurity person, because that was his ultimate goal, but he had to go through the trenches, Yeah. So, and then he did, the bullshit service support, this, that, Azure. He's still doing that, but now his main focus is like building out the SOC, understanding the pen testing, like building out the aspect of the cyber team. And he didn't think that's going to happen a year and a half ago. If you talk to him, like things change rapidly. So I think that having that segue and that pathway is definitely be a cool thing to do. I don't know. That's just my opinion. That's the advice I gave him, and he's doing it, and he's doing pretty well.
Yeah, like that's why it's kind of good to like get in a company that you're gonna like grow in, because like any company you go to, like you're gonna have to start at the bottom, like work your way up. So it's not really good to like job hop like help desk roles. Like I know a lot of people that job hop just like help desk, and it's like you have to like know the software and like relearn like everything like in a new company. So then you have to like work your way back up to that point. But if you're just job hopping like every 2 or 3 years or every year, then you're not really gonna learn much as if you stay with the company and then like move up to like different tiers, or move to like support to like network security or network engineer, and then like work your way up to like like CFO, or like kind of like at the very top. Like as long as you stay with a company for a while, like you'll be able to like move up within the company.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. The only time that I would say, hey, job hop, is 2 reasons. If you're not happy and you want more money. Because if you think about it, like that's, I think, probably 95% of the reason people job hop is for money.
Yeah.
Right? Like, say, for example, we're just going to keep it simple, right? The KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. So if I'm making $50,000 today, and in 1 year, I get my year review and they give me fucking $1 an hour more, right? So maybe I'll get $51,050, right? For an example. And I'm working for a year, and now my second year, I'm at 52,000, right? So now you just spent 2 years to make $2,000, versus if you said, okay, I want to stay here for a year, gather as much information, especially when you're a young kid, right? Like when you're younger, it's, if you start doing that in your mid 30s, 40s, you look on your resume, unless it's contract work. But if it's like, you didn't last a year there, that's a little weird. But when you're younger, it's expected. But now you're making $52,000 or whatever at 2 years. Now that third year, now you can go someplace and ask for 60, 65 grand instead of going that extra $1,000 a year. It's to make more money in one single company, it's going to take you ages. So that's the main reason people job hop is for more money. That's if anyone in this chat thinks otherwise, or if maybe they job hop for another reason, please put it in the, if you're watching it live now, if you're watching this after the fact, like put it in the comments. I'm really curious. What is your opinion on that? But
yeah, because like typically, so like on Indeed, for example, like the range they give you, it's like some companies will put like 15 an hour or $15 an hour, like 25 or 30. Well, that's a big range, but it's like more than likely, like you're not going to get the very top notch of like, the range. Cause like they're trying to show you like, that's what you can get up to, but like you're not going to start like at a company making like top dollar notch, like what they have like listed. They're going to try to get you somewhere like either, depending on your experience, they're going to be like either like somewhere like on the low end or like the middle, depending on the experience you have. But a lot of jobs, they care about experience over like degrees and certs. It just depends on like who the company is. But a lot of companies, they'll go the route of, oh, well, this person is coming out of college with a, degree, like a cybersecurity degree and like these certs. But the thing is like the certs, like, you don't do hands-on with a cert. So it's like when you get in the field and they put you like day one, like you don't really know like how to, build a network or how to operate like a system based on like memorizing like stuff for certs. Like that plays a big role in trying to like, actually do the experience based on like, or versus a certain degree.
Yeah. And that's a very good point. And that's where, like, for an example, we'll go back to that Cisco experience, right? And even Microsoft, but we'll pick on Cisco for now. Like even at the CCNA level, right? Like when you do your CCNA, like, depends on who you talk to, but, for the exam itself, I don't know how it is now, but I did it when it was a CCENT, ICND1 and ICND2, but there was all multiple choice, right? There was no like simulations. There was no, when you get to the CCNP, that gives you troubleshoot stuff and you keep going up. But like the CCNA, so like you're learning all this theory, but yeah, you can set up like packet tracer, GNS3, EVNG, physical routers and switches. But at the end of the day, like if you don't have that experience, if you just, practicing from the book and you're a really good reader, you're a really good test taker, yeah, you could take this test and now they put you in an environment, say, okay, go configure this route. Go on, why isn't this routing traffic? If you don't understand how traffic traverses through networks, but you passed the CCNA, but you never really did it. So I think that's where, like in the offensive security space, that's where they're trying to bridge that gap, right? So, say for example, let's start from the bottom, right? I'm not talking about like multiple, not pen test plus or anything like that. Like, I think the easiest one, like I never took the EJPT from eLearn Security or INE now, but I did the PJPT, right, from TCM, which is awesome. It was really good foundation. You on the inside of the network, you run your tools and you capture your hashes and you do your stuff, right? And then you do your PMPT, you have the external, you compromise external, you do your recon, you do your OSINT, but you're doing it. It's not like a multiple choice thing. And I like that one because there was no flags. It's not like, okay, I want to go look for a flag. Like I want to go enumerate to find information that maybe has content within something in order for me to, for example, something like a CTF, right? Like I just put out Cicada, right? The walkthrough for that machine. So there was a password in an HR file, right? So that's real world. Like I've been on engagements that, like I found passwords on people's desktops, an Excel spreadsheet. I just got to download it because I was on it. Now I can see all these passwords to all their online accounts because they're not using a password manager. But the moral of the story is, yeah, like if you want to get into this world, if you start doing hands-on, that gap will be closed versus just doing those multiple choice questions. But for you, it's cool because in school, I had to go through it. I had to do the CEH, I had to do the CHFI while I was at WGU. Like there was certifications I had to go through, and which was cool, like you said. And that's, I'll give a shout out to WGU. Like I had all my Cisco certs when I started. So like I did everything in a short amount of time. So that's really cool about them.
Yeah, it's a really good college. It's like if you're like interested in going there, like they offer a lot of like great resources. So like say for example, you want to do like cybersecurity degree. Well, they give you like for the certs, they give you 2 attempts for the certs, and if you fail after second attempt, then the third and fourth attempt they'll pay like 65-70%. And it's like depending on what the cert is, it's like $100 to retake it versus like A plus, full price is $250 for like each part. Versus like, having to pay all that amount, they give you like a discount. And then you can also do like, you can use like the library. So you can get all like the CompTIA like study notes that you buy like on Amazon. You can get that free, like through the library as a download. You can do Udemy courses like Jason Dion, like all those are on there. And if you want to learn anything else, you can also have access through the like WGU account. And then also they do like the CertMaster through CompTIA. So you can do a bunch of like virtual labs through CertMaster. But yeah, like all in all, WGU is a pretty good school. And like a lot of people, they get their degree in like 2 years, depending on like how much you have like transferred in as credits. Like for example, I transferred in with like 52 credit or 62 credits out of 120 because I transferred in with 2 associate degrees. As long as you transfer in with associate degree, then you don't have to take like any core classes. All the core transfers in.
Yep. Exactly. And that's so true. Is there any questions that I missed? I know we normally go towards the end, but did you have anything else on your mind? I know you had some stuff lined up that you wanted to go over.
Yeah. So as far as like, I guess like AI goes, like, like a lot of people that's coming up like as a new topic now. A lot of colleges are starting to implement AI degrees now. But with AI, it's going to probably be like, the top level job, like right above cyber and like networking. So if you're looking to get in the field of IT, I would really recommend to go either AI or like cyber, like networking, like network security or cyber as an IT job. Cause like, that's what's going to be like in the next like 5 years, like by 2030, there's probably going to be a lot more jobs out there for like those 2 fields.
Yeah. Like it's just crazy to think about an AI degree. It's all this machine learning and all this. I don't know. This is I was hoping to be retired by then, but I guess it's not. If it's in 5 years, I'm still screwed. But yeah, I think AI is definitely something that's, I use it every day. I've said this and all the time. I use it for, I even made a funny, a rap song with our team. Right? You've probably seen it in Discord, like the Hack the Box rap song. I put some core things, and I'm like, oh, write this song about XYZ. And it's like, man, like anyone can rap today. It's like I can just put a topic in, have it spit it out. I can just put my voice and have a voiceover, and I can be a rapper. It's like it's so crazy that things happen with this AI stuff. And it's like 5 years ago, I was like, I barely knew what AI was. Now it's like, yeah, it's fucking crazy.
Yeah, you can spit stuff into like ChatGPT, for example. Like, you can be like, take this job description and, like put your resume in there, and like you can be like tailor the job description to our resume, and it'll write like a whole new resume for you.
Yeah, exactly. And talking about resumes, we can segue into that for a second. So I think what's interesting about resumes and jobs is because I had a friend and someone hit me up on Discord and then Instagram is like, I send out so many resumes, like over 100 resumes in a week. And first of all, that's a no because, why are you sending out so many resumes? Do you want to work at like out of those 100 jobs, how many of those companies you would say, man, I want to work at? Are you just, what do they call it? Like spray and praying, spraying my resume out there. Hopefully I'm getting a call. Because if I get a call at, somewhere that I don't want to work at, then it's going to be no bueno. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't want to work there, So tailor your resume. And this is another thing that I want to talk about. People probably not getting those callbacks, because they just using one resume, Pat's resume, and they're sending it out 100 places, for an example, instead of saying, okay, I want to work at Microsoft, I want to work at Cisco, I want to work at VMware, and I want to work at Qualys and Rapid7 and I don't know, CrowdStrike. I don't know, throwing shit out there. Now I'm like, okay, like I want to tailor only 5 of these. I can go to whatever, careers.microsoft.com. I found a program manager that I want to work at, take that, throw that in, scramble it up, spit out a brand new resume, and just have it tailored for that specific job. Because to say, for example, you were a pen tester your whole life, right? Your whole career. And now it's like you're using that pen tester resume and you're applying for, manager of security or project manager or technical, whatever. It's like, this doesn't really align. And you think you might be a perfect fit for that position, but now like it's going to be either not seen by the ATS system, or you're going to get that stupid, email saying you don't fit the criteria. We're going to keep going because, you don't meet the requirements. Meanwhile, an ATS system seen it, not a real person. So just think about that, guys. Like it's super, super important to tailor your resume. And the second part of that is networking. Network with folks just like Noah and I was talking about with conferences. If you have connections on LinkedIn or whatever other platforms, make these connections with purpose, right? Don't just, I get them all every day. I probably get like 50 to 100 a day on LinkedIn that just says, hey, help me. Hey, can I ask you a question? Like I just delete them. If you have watched this video and that's you, I'm sorry, you're getting deleted, right? Like introduce yourself, let's establish a relationship, and then let's get married. We're not getting married in the first text. Sorry. You know what I mean? But that's my spiel.
Yeah, that's what with popular like people like that's like big up on YouTube. Like you kind of have to offer like a service or kind of like offer like something to help them out, and then they'll help you out versus like trying to ask people oh, can you help me with this? But then like you're not like, what are they really getting out of you, like versus you getting out of them? Like you're not really like, you have to kind of like establish like a relationship with people in order to like get that feedback. It's not going to be something you get back like right then.
Exactly. And we can use us as an example, right? and I want to put this out there because this is some like Noah came, we established a relationship. We just started talking. We joined the Hack the Box. He wants to learn pen testing. We established this relationship. Now he's here. Now we talk on a daily basis, see how each other's doing. And like, okay, like I just asked him, hey, like I'm not good with websites. I suck with web design. I did, my website. I had a friend help me, and I come to find out there was like spelling errors. I'm like, I'm worse. He's worse than me in spelling. But and then I'm like, hey, Noah, like, do you mind checking the site out? We can work together and we can help each other out. We can help each other. It's not like I'm saying, hey, take care of my website and then you get nothing in return. Like we help each other in whatever manner. And then, and then now we have a virtual friendship. Hopefully one day we'll meet in person and then this can continue to grow. But if I would have said, if I would hit him up and say, hey, I seen that you do web design. Can you help me modify my website or make some changes? But he's like who, what? Like, in my opinion, if he's telling me to go fuck off, I would have been like, oh, I guess that's just the right answer. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, having that established relationship is super, super critical.
Yeah, it's good to have, like, I recommend LinkedIn. Like, I created LinkedIn like back when I had my first IT job, and I never really used it. I didn't do much with it. I just got into it probably about 6 months ago. I've established a lot of different connections. Like, to be honest with you, like the people on LinkedIn are probably going to be more impactful than the people you work with, as far as like that relationship goes. Like a lot of people on LinkedIn, they want to like provide you with great feedback. Like there's nobody that really talks negative like on like a post that you share or anything. They want to like hype you up versus like you may work with people that you don't get that kind of feedback. But yeah, so as far as like LinkedIn goes, it's really good to have a LinkedIn account and build those relationships as far as like connections. And then it's also good to like kind of like post like your own thoughts. You can repost stuff and get connections that way. I've had a lot of people reach out to me that I've just reposted someone's link and I got like 1,000 impressions just on like a repost.
Yeah, and to sprinkle some sprinkles on what you said, I think the bigger you become, whatever it's on LinkedIn or any kind of social media platform, whatever you're going to get more critters, right? You're going to have more criticism. You're going to have more comments, not maybe negative comments, just like more attacks. Like, and I feel, and please, like if anyone ever watches this, like I love honesty. Like feedback is so important to me. And like when I see people like trying to say some negative thing about me just because of whatever, because I don't even know. If you know me in the real world, like, and there was one kid, and I'm going to keep his name anonymous because, I don't want to embarrass him, but like he used to bash me on YouTube saying that I do this and I've bots and this. And I'm like, dude, first of all, I don't do YouTube for money, right? Like I said this the other day to someone, I'm like, I can put up the mic and be private the rest of my life and be perfectly content. You know what I mean? I don't need the $300 that YouTube gives me a month, right? Like that's fucking, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need that. Like, I'm doing this more to help, establish relationships with like people like yourself. And this person's like, oh, you talk like, whatever, the bullshit that he says. But it's like, they will never tell you to your face that, you know what I mean? It's like, so you do get those kinds of people on the internet, on these kinds of platforms. Like, but if I never made, if I stayed the way I was 5 years ago, no one knew who I was. I was anonymous. On LinkedIn, I never put my government name. You know what I mean? I used to use my Italian name, for everything. So I was always anonymous. And, I could have stayed that way and never helped a soul. But I felt like, I was discovered for a purpose and doing this for a purpose. So moral of the story, if anyone ever has any feedback, please, I'm open to it. And, good, bad, the ugly, and just don't be a dick. But if you have something that, so you just have to, like you're getting into the YouTube game, you're starting to, you have your YouTube channel. So, be prepared. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't think about it 5 years ago whenever I started it, like, oh, I just making little YouTube videos and I don't know, posting it and seeing where it goes. A couple years later, now it's a little more popular, I guess. And then comes with some bullshit. So
Yeah, like with my like channel, I need to start doing like like I said, hack the box, track me, and kind of like go over like those labs. I see a lot of people they'll do like live streams of like them doing the labs like hands on and stuff. So I wanted to get like into that direction as far as like making content. It's just like I'm new to this, so like anything with like recording or like kind of like like monetizing the video, like it's gonna be new to me. So I'm gonna have to get used to that. Because the only thing I put out so far is like short reels, which I wanted to like kind of introduce myself like through the short reels. But now I've got to the point where I'm wanting to start making videos now because I haven't introduced myself enough on those like few short reels that it's best to like start like actually doing videos as far as like using like OBS and like recording videos and having those like active accounts that I can use as far as like active box track me to get more familiar with like that route. So like when I get up to that point, I'm not just like completely lost.
yeah, and I wanna add some stuff on that. So doing those walkthroughs benefit you, especially since you're young in the game. You want to transition to this field. So now that adds an archive to your portfolio. You know what I mean? Like I had interviews in the past, in the past 5 years where it's like, oh, like maybe they don't know right away, because when I first started my YouTube, I only started putting, I think, my YouTube on my LinkedIn probably 2 years ago, right? Before that, like my YouTube was just out there, but then someone said, "Oh, is this is Pat? Do you have a YouTube channel?" I'm like, "Yeah," and then like they recognize that, right? So then they can see, okay, like you're walking through stuff and you're demonstrating stuff that shows the ability, and sometimes like when you're learning something, you know, I do it all the time because I'm a perfect person to say this. Like, I'll do a box. Like, if I'm in front of it on my keyboard, I know what I'm doing. Like, the methodology is already in my head. If you remove me from this keyboard and we go downstairs and watch hockey, and you said, "Hey, can you walk me through, the enumeration aspect? Can you walk me through the, initial access?" I'm like, bloodhound. I don't know. Like, it just gets my head scrambled, right? So like there's a disconnect. So like when you're trying to do those walkthroughs, it tries to reinforce that and gets it instilled in your brain. So when you start interviewing, or maybe like if for an example, you're going to do an interview and you want to be a web pen tester, right? Whatever, because you want to do more website because you're a web guy. Maybe you do like a port swigger, thing, or maybe you go through some kind of web app thing before that interview because maybe that interview will ask you, okay, what is if you have whatever, I don't know, I'm not a web guy, but like some web questions, and then it's like fresh in your head, because I've done that in the past. Like I want to be on this interview. Sometimes it doesn't work because you never know what the person's going to ask you, and me personally, I start drawing blanks in my head. That's why networking is key because maybe people can vouch for you and have those conversations for you in the organization instead of just going through the traditional interview route. So that's another way.
Yeah, because like as far as like networking goes, like it's good to establish those connections. Because like say you apply to like Microsoft and you want to do like network engineer or security, like and there's like 3,000, 4,000 resumes. Well, if you go to like a conference and then you talk to this person that works for Microsoft and they refer you to like their hiring manager, then they're going to look through those resumes, they're going to pull yours out, and then they're going to call you for interview. Versus like more than likely like all those different thousands of resumes, or those people are going to have like master degrees and like all kinds of experience, so it's going to be hard to like trying to like weave in and out if you're like kind of like intermediate but not like expert level. Versus like they like a lot of companies like to hire people that like they'll ask like the in-house people, oh, do you know this person that wants to do this role? And they'll try to like go that route because like a lot of people like to know like for you to know the person versus like you trying to hire someone like fresh off the street that like like you don't really know their background or personality.
Yeah, no, most definitely. Like referrals are the best option. So we're about like 10 minutes up. So let's see if there's any question. I know Paul put something in here. Um, and John Doe, I just started an IT position about 4 months ago, and now I understand the difference between cybersecurity and IT. Reading Reddit posts and YouTube can only do uh, so much. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, damn, I think that's a fly in here. But yeah, John, thanks for your videos, Pat. Thanks for all your. I still transfer to. Yeah, awesome, John. Yeah, you'll definitely get there. Just keep pushing, dude. You'll do it one day. And Paul, yeah, I agree, especially with tech sectors and RSUs after 4 years investing period and reevaluating the door to tech companies. Yeah, absolutely, that is true. And John again, it all depends though. You have to go through their and know your worth. Sometimes you don't even carry experience. They fit the team. Yeah, and that's a good point, John. Like I've seen some folks, and I've known some folks that are super super smart, and they just don't have the personality that the team is looking for. So either they're too introverted or just too cocky. I have two friends or two people, internet friends, that are really really good, and I'm not talking about the one that probably people think, but like there's two that are really good. I don't want to say really really good because really really good is only one person I know, but and and he told me this like about 4 months. I've been over here, my new spot, for 5 months, probably like 7 months ago. He's like, dude, I can't find a position, and he's smart. Like he has his OSWE, OSEP. He's all off sec'd out, and I think he even went for the CPTS, and there was another one that he went on and got. And yeah, no one wants to hire him. He's a prick. I love him, but he's a dick. So that's always going to hold him back. And I always tell him, like, but, I told him one day he just has to do his own thing because he's not an easy person to get along with. But yeah, so be nice, people. You never know. It depends if you really like your team. WG is a great. Also, I've been able to, yeah, and it is very affordable. Yeah, you're screwed. I'm not sure who's screwed. I'm not sure who you're talking about, LinkedIn user. I don't know if it's like my LinkedIn or I don't know. I don't know why it doesn't show the username. I don't know if that ever did that. I don't know if that's new or whatnot. Um, so John Doe, they hired someone before me with a ton of experience. He got fired. Then they called me back and said they made a mistake. I used to bartend before working with a bunch of yeah. I'm telling you, like it's all about your attitude. And like sometimes I even think this, right? Like there's things I'm really really good at and things I'm not good at all, but I leverage like my personality and I just want to be a better person and be a good person and always try to help people. Am I the sharpest tool in the shed? No. And I'll admit that from myself, right? But I know how to figure things out. I know where to find resources. I know what I need to do. But I'm not the smartest, and I'm sure even on my team, there's fucking people that are really smart. And but I'm just good at what I'm good at, and I like to stay in my own lane. But what's up, Glenn? Finally made it. Better late than never. Yeah, man. Probably have another 10 minutes, and hopefully the CTF's going well. What is it? The Meta one? Yeah, we have to catch up. It's been a little crazy the last couple of days, but hope all is well. And I hope whoever joined, I was going to join, but I had stuff that I deal with back home in New York and some other shit going on. So, but yeah, you have anything else, Noah, that you have on your mind that you want to get off and speak about for the next 5 minutes?
I just know, like in the interviews, like the goal is to, like sell yourself. Like that's basically what you're doing. Like, a lot of people don't know, like how to really like do interviews. Like you're basically like selling yourself. Like like, oh, like you should hire me because like this reason, or like you should hire me because I have this experience. Like a lot of companies, they want you to do research before you go into the interviews, so, what their company offers, so they don't have to explain that whole scenario at the beginning. But like a lot more ask you, like a lot of them will let you know, do research before you come into the interview, so what's going on.
Yeah, I'm only laughing because there was Fetch CTF, awesome, Glenn. So there was a time I was probably about your age, and we're not going to put your age out there because that's up to you. But it was a long time ago, right? And a recruiter reached out to me, and they said, "Oh, make sure you go." And this is when we had to one thing. I never dressed up for an interview in my life, so I just like to put that out there. Like I just go in with khakis and a polo or whatever. I think I wore a suit once in my life, and it was to a wedding. But so I went into this interview, and I didn't do research, to be honest. I want to be honest. I didn't do much research because I had stuff going on or whatever. So I go into this interview, and they asked me that, like, "Oh, so tell us what you found out about the company." and I got the job, which was really, really crazy. I think it was the honesty. But the guy, and I still talk to him till today. So he was a really big influence in my life because I was young. I said, like my second job in this field in IT. And he's like, "Oh, did you do any research?" I was like, "No, because what your company does, I'm not going to do that. I don't care if the company's picking potatoes. I'm not picking potatoes. Like, I don't really care about that. Like, why do I have to know about how many potatoes the potato picker picked? Like, I just have to make sure your servers are up, right?" So, and he was trying not to laugh. I just remember sitting across the table because in interviews back then, you go into a conference room, you print out your resume, and they have your resume, and they have your resume, and he tried not to giggle. I'm just remembering it, and he's like, "I guess I can't really fault you for that." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not," And then we continued the interview, and I left. I got in my car. I drove on 95. And because, the recruiters always say, "Call me when you're done," to let me know how it went. At least that's how it was back then. And I was like, "I think it went well, but I don't think," they asked me if I did, research. And I told them no, because I don't really care what the company does. I really didn't care if they wanted to pick potatoes. It wasn't a potato pick. It was a different industry, but I just didn't care what they did. And he's like, "Oh, you should have never done that." And he goes, "Oh, hold on. They're calling me right now. Let me call you right back." And they wanted to give me an offer. So the moral of the story, it's all about how you sell yourself. Yeah. So, all right, we'll take a couple of these questions. Damn, I'm late. What's up, boys? What's up, Eric? No, it's no biggie, man. There's a lot of people that probably was late. It's a Thursday and people are busy, I guess. So this Saturday I'm having a live. So what I'm trying to do, and I want to get to you, any CTF for absolute beginners, Naji or Niji. So every Saturday, this is something I want to try to do. Obviously, it's hard because, I have my life, and then, we have the team, the CTF team with Glenn and Paul and whomever else. So we try to get on Saturdays when a new Hack the Box machine drops, and we try to go to town. But if anyone's ever interested, in doing some live hacking, what I want to try to implement on Saturdays, maybe from like 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. EST or something like that, depending on where you are in the world. Like this week, Ali is overseas. He's in Pakistan, and he's going to be on from like 12 to 1, and he's going to pick an Active Directory machine. I think he's going to be doing Vone Lab, and then he's going to walk us through hacking an Active Directory machine and going through all that stuff. So I wanted to start incorporating not only like talks like this and shooting a smack, just actually like showcasing some cool stuff that other industry professionals are doing. So, if you guys want to join on Saturday at 12 p.m. EST, come, hang out and ask Ali some questions and myself, and we're going to start hacking. He's going to surprise me. I told him I don't want to know what he picks. I want it to be a surprise. But what are some absolute beginners CTFs? I think, And I want to let maybe Glenn, because Glenn does a lot more CTFs than I do. I just do like hack the box and try hack me's. But I think a really good one, I don't know if this is considered a CTF, but like over the wire is a really good for beginners because you SSH to a machine. I think it's called Bandit. Correct me if I'm wrong, folks. It's been like 5 years since I watched that or since I looked at Bandit. And then like you SSH and you do like an LS and it gives you little instructions and you can start building up. I don't think you're capturing flags, but you're getting into that thought process of maneuvering around Linux. And then maybe doing like Pico CTF. Yep, exactly. Pico CTF. And then maybe try Hack Me and then go into Hack the Box. And yeah, that would be my recommendation. And Pickle Rick. Yeah, Pickle Rick was, that was funny. That was a cool one. That had me fucking, I think I did that one live as well. But yeah, Bandit is correct. Cool. Thank you, Johnny. Yeah, Bandit is a pretty good one. But yeah, it is the top of the hour. I want to be respectful of Noah's time. So thank you everyone for coming out tonight, for hanging out, and for asking questions in the chat. Any last things for you, Noah, that you want to express, ask, or the floor is yours to do the closing act.
I'll just say, if you don't have a LinkedIn, I recommend getting one. Networking is a big key to like a lot of, especially IT jobs. So if you don't have a LinkedIn, get one. And if you're looking for a college to go to, Western Governor is a really good college to get your degree from. Because I know a lot more jobs are starting to recognize WGU more now.
Yep. Yeah, most definitely. And I think you're very welcome. I think because of the whole certification integration, and it's not only like a state university that you go and you go do computer science and you learn the basics and you're just going through books and like high school diploma on steroids. And I'll say this one last thing from Stinger. Fetch CTF is pretty much for beginners, but what? If you means machines wise to train Pico, Hack the Box, try Hack Me, Root Me. Oh yeah, Root Me is another one. So thank you, Stinger, for sharing that. And it'll be in the chat. And I think I don't know if the chats go to comments. I don't even know how the lives work, but I think it'll be there after the fact. So if anyone's watching this and they want to see it after, and check it out. But thank you so much, Noah. Much love for you. Much love for everyone that's hung out tonight. And I'll see you guys on Saturday if you come through. And one last thing, I always like to invite folks to the channel. Look, you don't have to be an absolute expert. You don't have to be an absolute beginner. All sorts of levels are welcome. Hit me up. We can chit chat. We can talk about what we want to talk about. And we get to establish that relationship, and then we can go from there. The Stinger, I really want to get him on, but I have to pull his beard out to get him out someday. But yeah, hopefully one day I'll get his ass on here. But thank you again, Noah, and everyone else.
Thanks for having me.
I'll see you guys on the flip side.
See ya.